Ramblings, ramblings,
Ramblings,
ramblings.
ramblings, ramblings.
All
Woo!
right.
From the warp.
Ramblings from the Warp, episode 50 something, I think.
51, my guy. 51.
Oh, did I actually
We
call
are
that 51? Okay, cool.
we are half a century old.
Right. Okay. What is this, like podcast years are like dog weeks or something? Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so Kyle, I wanna ramble about something.
Okay.
But this is actually like a really important topic to me.
Okay.
And I know it's a really important topic to like lots of other people. And like I 100% am blindsiding you with this. This is
Uh-huh.
100% a blindside. Like you're not gonna see any of this coming. And I'm also gonna let you know ahead of time that some of this is directed at you.
Oh, okay. So I should feel personally offended. Got it.
You should definitely feel called out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like attacked or offended or targeted. Like it's not like that. This is more of like I was thinking about some of the struggles that you were having and some of the struggles some of my other friends were having. And I was like, you know what? This is actually a really important segue. And this is actually be one of the more like near and dear to my heart kind of topics that we've covered before. So I'm going to get into it. So every single person who plays this game, it doesn't matter how you want to play it, how you want to talk about it. Everybody deals with the same problem. Some people call it hobby lock. Some people call it burnout. Some people call it the I don't want-us. Eventually, we all hit the wall. The wall being, I'm not motivated to paint. I'm not motivated to build. I'm not motivated to hobby. I wanted to get into some of the ways that we can get past that, and also some of the things that you can do to overcome some baseline, like entry level fears and some more advanced fears.
Okay. I do feel personally called out on this because I was suffering. I am suffering.
Yeah, Kyle's over
Mm-hmm.
here like an like an infomercial stuff. Like, or do you or a loved one
Suffer
suffer?
from mesothelioma. Yeah. I'm not suffering from mesothelioma. I'm suffering from hobby overwhelmia.
So, and that's part of it, right? So, there's lots of different things that bring this on, right? I remember because I've been in this hobby for a really long time, and one of the first things that really bothered me is like I'd see a super complicated kit. Back in the day, this was stuff like metal dreadnoughts. Now, do they seem complicated at first? No, it's like 10 pieces. They weren't near as like piece heavy. It was more like, hey, figure out how to pen metal because you're basically going to make a two-legged mace ball. That's what a dreadnought was, dude. They're just chunks of metal, and you had to find a way to glue them together, get them to stick together. Guys found all kinds of different ways to make them work. Green stuff and super glue mix. Some guys were like, "I using a static welder," and I'm like, "You were doing too much."
Ugh.
Oh, dude, it was insane, right?
Brother, ugh.
And so I want to get into some of the things that can cause this, and then I also want to get into ways to get past it. One of the first things that everybody has to learn is that complicated kits are only complicated the first time.
Okay.
Right.
I can definitely pick that up. Yeah.
Right. You and I had a conversation where you were like, damn, Gabe, how am I going to assemble 4 predators? And I'm like, the first one's going to irritate you. The second one, you're going to find your rhythm. The third one, you're going to forget you had problems.
Yeah, but I still made the same mistake on all 4 of them, messing up that dang door.
Yeah, the back door. Everybody
Yeah.
forgets it because they're so busy trying to get all the gaps to sit
Yep.
that you forget there's supposed to be a door back there.
Yep.
Yeah, 100% get it right.
I think I got 2 doors working, and I'm very happy about it.
Dude, for me, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I think I was like 14 or 15 when it came out. The original plastic kit Land Raider. It's the version that we see in the 40K universe now. It's the actual big plastic Land Raider kit. Did you know that the doors on that are actually mechanically hinged?
No, I did not.
So when you pull open the front door, it opens both doors. They're actually on a hinge on the inside that you have to assemble.
Okay.
Right? They're on a tandem hinge. The first time I did it, I'm like, man, that is awesome. That is so cool. You know what I haven't put into any Land Raider ever again in the next 15 years of hobbying?
The doors?
Do you know why I've never put them in?
Because they were too much of a pain in the butt?
Kyle, I've been to like 7 Adepticons. I've been to who knows how many tournaments, and not a single person has ever been like, hey, what's the inside look like? Said no one ever. It's never happened. It's one of those things where if you want people to see it and admire it, you'd have to be like, hey, do you know the door's open? You got to bring that up.
Yeah. And then
Right.
don't you
So
feel pretentious?
yeah. Like, show me more there. Complicated kits are only complicated the first time. Now, yeah, they're still going to be super in-depth kits, but once you've done one, you're like, that's not so bad. Then you do the next one, you're like, okay, not that bad. Then when you find other super complicated kits, you're like, man, you know what? I can handle this. Which leads into my next point. All of the experience in the world doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all going to get our butt kicked by a build. Right? I'm going to give 3 examples right now off the top, and all 3 examples are some of the most experienced, die-hard, highly intelligent, highly skilled modelers and painters that I know. Right? Really good friend of mine named John Christensen, right? He's from the ABB group. You've met John.
Yeah, I like John.
I watched John toil and suffer building a mastodon for 3 days, and then he said, "You know what? It's terrain now." Right? John's been in the hobby longer than me, which is a stretch. Like I haven't met many people that are like, I've been in the hobby longer than that guy. I'm like, that's funny. I did this before like I was old enough to make decisions. The second one, this was actually a really, really funny one. And he's probably gonna rant and scream and yell at me when he hears this episode, which I'm totally on board for it. But a very good friend of mine, Cole, called me in the middle of the night one day. Very competent model assembler, has done, and he'll find the most complicated ways to assemble models too. Like he's like, this is the glue I use, and it's a bottle that looks almost like a rash cream.
Okay.
He uses E3000. People that are hearing there's a couple of guys out there right now whose microphones just detonated. They're screaming at the top of their lungs. They're like, somebody puts models together with that crap. He called me in the middle of the night one night and said, I don't get it and I need help. I said, all right, man, it's only like 12:45 at night. What's up? He's like, how do you know which Marine hands go to which Marine bodies? That sounds really dumb.
No, I've fought that fight.
Yeah, especially with the new Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, Mark VI kits.
I just
The
want some
hands.
left-handed pistols.
Yeah, right. And then another one. Um, my buddy Mike got a Charybdis secondhand from a guy. And he was asking questions in some of the group chats, like, how many legs is this supposed to have? How many missiles is this supposed to have? I don't understand why everything is left-handed. And I was like, it's a drop pod. What are you talking about?
You got a
Right.
left-handed drop pod.
Yeah, it's like bring me the left-handed socket wrench. You know, like it felt weird, right? But even really experienced modelers and painters hit the same wall. We get so frustrated, and here's the reality of it is, you'll hit a really complicated kit, you'll get to the end of it, and it's almost like it sapped you. You're like, I used so much patience and brain power and ability that I don't want to touch any models for a couple of days, and that couple of days turns into a week.
Yeah, man. I feel so called out right now.
That week turns into 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And then eventually somebody's like, hey man, what are you working on? And you're like, they just grab them all off your desk. He's like, a Marine. Because you're
That
like,
I
you're right, I
forgot
should be
about.
painting. I should be modeling. I should be doing stuff, right? So that's one of those, right? Which leads to some of the solutions to these problems. Any obstacle you're having right now, I promise somebody else has had it. I haven't met anyone in this community yet who, when you propose a problem or an obstacle, that people are like, oh my God, what are you, dumb? That never happens. Instead, there's 5 guys clamoring over each other to give you the way that they fixed it.
It depends on if it's Kyle asking the question or not, because usually it does start out with "You're dumb, right?"
Okay, that's whenever you ask certain questions. There have been a couple of questions that I'm like, what? I don't say you're dumb, but I do ask what, because like the context of how you ask questions sometimes, you'll be like, hey Gabe, does this round part go in this other round part? Yeah, yes, Kyle, it does. Oh, and does this flat piece go with this flat piece? Kyle, are you kidding? But I still answer your question because I understand that the first time doing a certain kit or a certain model, like there are some questions you're going to ask yourself, and this is something that that patient part of our community is really good about. Almost everyone understands you're putting together sometimes like an $150 model, and they don't want you to mess it up either.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I would recommend everybody does is one of the things is find a community, whether it be going to a store and finding some guys that hobby together, or find a hangout night across the various discords that do what I know that we do a hobby hangout. The ABB does a hobby hangout. There's a couple of guys who meet just randomly in the channel every now and again to hobby together. Find some people, coordinate hobby. Right? When people say, hey, you ever need help, give me a call, they actually mean that. I can't
Mhm.
stress that enough.
We do. We mean it.
You know, everybody needs that every now and again, because there's another thing that causes this, and it's the intimidation factor. I've reached a point where not very many kits intimidate me, but there's some paint jobs that do. When I was painting that Nurgle demon for Mike, dude, that model was so busy. I was like, I don't really know where to start with this. Like, this is a little overwhelming, but you know what? We'll just keep pecking at it. We'll peck at it. We'll peck at it. Make a plan, work it, get it going. I have a model upstairs. It's one of the models that I'm like, one day I'll get to it, maybe. But it's the Age of Sigmar Nagash model. Gorgeous model, amazing model, super intimidating. A lot of the Age of Sigmar models feel that way. They're definitely modeled to be really cool models. All the way past that intimidation is through it. You get a complicated kit, you get a complicated paint job, you get a super busy model. Just start. Find some people to talk to while you do it. Find some guys that painted one before. They can show you some cool pieces. Just start doing the work. The
Yeah,
next fast.
I started modeling some. I know where this came from. I started modeling some th- phthalax, and I bought them from a person who had already started them. So they took all the sprues off, so they're just loose pieces. And so there's no sprue to go off of to give you a reference as to where a body part is. They're all just in a bag. And I'm like, that might have been a dumb decision hobbying and trading. Like I save some money by buying someone's used stuff, but there's probably a reason why this dude quit because I don't know where to start. I don't know what a leg is. I don't know what an arm is. I don't even know what their heads look like. And so hobby night, I was like, yeah, I'm having a good time. I crack it open, I pour them all out, and I go, nope. Where's my on sprue Marines? I'm gonna make my despoiler squads now, and I just put them all back.
Yeah, that's one part. You can get discouraged pretty easily, but you just have to start. You have to start, and you just have to keep going. One of the other things that's really important along those same lines, if you go online, everyone can attest to this. If you go online, I don't care if you're looking at, Squidmar or 500 other paint channels, or if you're looking at Golden Demon winners or Crystal Brush winners, or if you're talking to the guys from Pro Acryl, or you're talking to guys from our channel, guys from the ABB, guys from all these different groups. Not every tool is for everybody. I know that sounds crazy.
But everybody is a tool. All right.
No. This is actually like a big deal, right? Is like so. Perfect example, right? Um, a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, man, I just bought this super super awesome airbrush collection, like brush station." Which, don't get me wrong, I use one. They're fantastic. It's so that you can airbrush in your office, and like it pulls all the air into like a filter and keeps it from, basically you're not breathing in a bunch of paint fumes. Because I will tell everybody, once upon a time, I was airbrushing for about 4 hours. I went in the bathroom to take a shower. I sneezed and could have sworn I killed a Smurf.
Not to mention the Smurf you saw running around the ground.
Yeah, 100% could have. I sneezed and it was just projectile ultramarine blue, just right to the wall, and I was like, "Oh, am I dying? Oh, what did I do?" And I was like, "Oh wait, you were airbrushing for like 4 hours, hunched over your desk, breathing it in like an absolute idiot."
Yeah.
The next day I had an airbrush station, right? Well, this guy was like, "Yeah, I bought this airbrush station." I'm like, "Fantastic." He's like, "It has a little arm for this and it has a little arm for this." And I was like, "Why do you need those?" He's like, "I don't know yet." Okay, not the worst thing ever, but what is it marketed for? Like, what did they say they were for? He goes, "Well, they said it was in case you had to do like this and this on a model that it could hold it so that you could airbrush it while it was there." And I was like, "Have you ever done that?" He's like, "Nah." "Have you ever thought about doing that?" "No." "Had you ever had the idea to do that before the time that it was there?" "No." "Did you go research and find if that was something you wanted to do?" "No."
No.
"Then why did you buy it?" I don't like, and this is where I get so frustrated with certain people, because like, oh man, I'm gonna sound like such a jerk. Like, I promise there's gonna be like 2 or 3 people are gonna be like, "That's enough of this fat idiot," and they're gonna beep us out, right? If you are just starting out painting and you go out and your first paint brushes you ever buy are Kolinsky brushes, you need to run your shins into the back of a trailer hitch. You cannot appreciate high-end brushes or high-end airbrushes or high-end tools until you have learned the beaters, right? This is the same logic that should apply to cars. My first car was a 91 Escort hatchback. Kyle, have you ever seen me drive a car since that Escort hatchback?
Not on purpose.
Nope, daddy likes leg room. Okay, you know what taught me to appreciate leg room? A 91 Escort hatchback.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have to learn to suffer so that you can understand the ease of use factors you're getting from some of these tools. You have to go through a learning process to appreciate what conveniences they're providing to you. And also, and I cannot stress the importance of this, it will also help you in the hobby long term, because you'll go back and be like, man, I remember how hard that was when I was using $5 brushes. And it doesn't apply to everybody. Some of the best painters I know still use Hobby Lobby bundle brushes. Kyle, do you know how many Kolinsky brushes I own?
No,
Do you know why you don't know how many Kolinsky brushes I own?
because you don't own any.
I don't own any Kolinsky brushes. The reason I don't own Kolinsky brushes is because I don't take care of my brushes. I know that I'm a know-nothing Neanderthal. I know that I get carried away and I don't wash my brushes like I should. I don't baby them like I should. I don't treat them like Maseratis because they're all 91 Escort hatchbacks. Okay, like, I don't buy professional dry brushes. I buy a $10 bundle of makeup brushes, right? Because that's my paint style. I'm not saying if you go out and buy expensive brushes, you're dumb. I'm saying there are certain tools in this hobby. Handheld sanders, like electrical reciprocating sanders. They're fantastic. They're not for everybody. Some of this is just overwhelming stuff that's just going to get you to this point, and it's a mental state that almost no one gets into unless they've been listening to the internet way too much. And that's going to be really funny coming from a podcast you're probably listening to on the internet. But it's when you sit at your desk and you realize you have 800 tools and you don't have the one you need for what's pissing you off right now. And the reason you don't have that tool is because if you'd have grinded through the bad process early, you would have already known you didn't need that tool. That I cannot express to you how hard that hit me. One day I was like, man, I'm looking for a thing to do this. How come I don't have a thing to do this? There should be a tool for this. And I'm like, hey, stupid. Do you remember when you used to do this all the time and you used that? And I was like, oh man, 100%. Kyle, you've seen my office. I have the electrical sander. I have an electrical handheld pen vise for drilling holes. I have, an arc light. I've got so many paints and an airbrush station and everything else and all this stuff. I don't have on my desk that I was like so just angry at myself the other day for. I was trying to do measurements for a laser cut and realized I don't have a single ruler anywhere on my desk.
That's hilarious.
I had to go buy rulers. I scoured my whole house. I'm like, I know they're in here somewhere. Nope. Apparently the burgling gnomes got me. I had to buy a pack of rulers. I didn't have a single ruler in my house.
That's hilarious.
It's not the same frustration as like running out of blades or running out of green stuff or things like that. It's the frustration of you get mad at yourself because you're like, I have all of this stuff and I don't have the answer to the problem I'm having right now. There are tons of guys that feel this. And instead of being like, you know what? It's okay. Let's move on. You get frustrated and you're like, I've had enough for today. I'm going to go do something else. And you go play a game online or you go out and have dinner or something like that. And then you come back and then now you're not as motivated as you were. Right. So I'm not saying don't go get cool stuff. I'm not saying, you don't need all this. What I'm saying is appreciate the struggle, find the need before you buy into the FOMO.
Yeah, I did that with 3D printing. I got into 3D printing and I got an Ender 3 Pro, and man, it was a 3D printer. It printed in the third dimensions, but it was not easy. It was not easy to learn. It was not easy to get right. But you know what I learned? I learned how to fix it when it broke because it did it a lot. And now I have a badass 3D printer, a K2 Plus, and it's enclosed. It's got all the fans. It's not a bed slinger. It's a Core XY, so the bed goes up and down instead of back and forth. So it's an awesome printer. And you know what? I'm not afraid of when it breaks because I know I can take it apart because I learned on the Ender how to take it apart.
Yeah, and that that applies to hobbying in general. You know, that's a hobby thing. You can explore every technique you want. You can go do all the stuff that you want. You know, there's so many guys that I've met and I've talked to, and you've heard them too, and you've heard me kind of like tell them like, ah, man, you don't need all that. You know, we go to events and guys are like, yeah, I was gonna try this whole thing, but I don't have X, Y, Z. You,
That's not a
you, you don't have to. You know, I want everyone to understand that, like every other hobby, like every other great thing that you want to do, it's ups and downs, right? Everything we do is ups and downs. That's why I say find a group of people, suffer with company, man.
yeah. Misery loves company.
Suffer with company because I remember one day I even remember the model. I remember the model. I was putting together an old style tank, an old style resin tank, a fire raptor is what I was putting together. The fire raptor is half plastic, half resin, which is in the top 3 of most annoying kits to ever work with because resin expands and contracts with heat, plastic doesn't. So when you're working with resin and plastic, like plastic will just melt away, it'll curl. Resin will get all like jelly and flexy. And I was so frustrated. And Duncan was like, hey, Gabe. I'm like, what? He goes, will you stop acting like it's your first time doing a model?
Mm.
You know, you're right. Let's just get on with it. Let's keep cracking. Every struggle you have, somebody else has had it, and they'll walk you through it. Find a group. You know, like you said, suffer with groups. The next thing, piles of shame.
I call mine a pile of progress.
Kyle, have you ever heard me refer to my office as a pile of shame?
No,
Do you know why I don't call it a pile of shame?
because you're not ashamed of it.
No, it doesn't exist. If I could pass this lesson on to everyone and them understand how I genuinely feel about, you know, like my backlog or like my unpainted collection, whatever else it is, I get it from everybody. You know, Justin's like, when are you going to paint one of your Thunderhawks, loser? You know, there's guys that are like, when are you going to paint this model? When are you going to paint this model? How come you haven't worked on this model? They don't exist. The second I had 3 Fire Raptors in a list, I painted 3 Fire Raptors. The second I had 60 tactical squads in a list, I had 60 tactical squads painted. The day I had a command rhino in a list, a command rhino was painted. I don't look at it as a backlog. It is simply a repository to pull lists from. When I do the charity armies, I build the army. I pull everything down that's out of the office that did, off. I call it off the books models, like models that are coming off. Piles of shame can do as much negative for you as they can positive. If you look up if there's anything that you guys take as gospel, it is really easy to paint 10 dudes. It's really hard to paint 3,000 points.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot stress that enough. That you get so overwhelmed with everything happening. Now, there are some exceptions to this, you know, like I've watched like some of the guys like Duncan and John sit and be like, "Yep, knocked out 7 Land Raiders today," and I'm like, cool. But for people that are just trying to paint their armies and do what they're doing, man, don't go out and buy 3,000 points, assemble 3,000 points, and then try to paint 3,000 points in a sitting. Build 10, paint 10. Build the tank, paint the tank. Build the dreadnought, paint the dreadnought.
You see, for me, I've got these new additions to my 3,000 point list for my retool for Warzone, and I'm gonna assemble all of them and then go back and paint them because I don't have the setup to have my paints available to me. So I have to put away my building materials and then pull out my painting materials.
That's fine.
But I will paint them in batches. I will paint my
Correct.
10 despoilers as 10 despoilers. And I'll be like, all right, cool. Because I know I'm doing this color on this part, this color on that part, this mixture of colors on this part. I'm going to do it in this order. I'm going to paint all the shoulder pads. Boom, all the shoulder pads are done. Go back, paint all the heads. All the heads are done, or whatever. Paint everything that's blue, paint everything that's green, whatever color I'm painting. And then I'll go, all right, cool. Those guys are done. Time to do a rhino.
Yeah, and that's
You know
part of one of the big things is I do you know why I started doing commissions, Kyle?
what?
I painted blue for 30 years.
Yeah, okay. You need to change it up a little
Right.
bit.
30 years I've been painting blue. And I remember the remark that was made. Somebody was like, "Man, imagine how cool it would be if you could paint something other than blue." And I was like, say that again?
Come again?
And they're like, "Yeah, I mean, your Ultramarines look good because it's all you know how to paint." And I was like, I bet I can paint anything. And then our buddy Mike was like, "You want to paint some Death Guard?" And I was like, "Bet." I'll tell you right now, some of Mike's Death Guard is some of the best stuff I've ever painted. I'm talking the best. His Mortarion is probably some of the best paint work I've ever done. Some of his characters, he's got a couple of characters that I 100% think I could get nods in major painting competitions. They're some of the best work I ever did because I broke up the content. Not everybody wants to do commissions. Totally get it. Not everybody wants to go out and do a lot of stuff like that. So here's what I'll tell you. If you're starting to get tired of painting your salamanders or your tyranids or your thousand suns or whatever else, paint some terrain.
Yeah.
Paint some terrain. It breaks up what's going on because here's the other thing that's going to happen too. Because this is what happened to me. I was painting some of Mike's stuff and I was like, damn, that's pretty. Man, I bet I could do that on my stuff. Now I'm mad because I'm like, man, this whole time I've been sleeping on this because I keep my Ultramarines pretty clean cut. They're not like weathered or
Yeah. Yeah, they're Ultramarines. They come out of the transports clean.
oh, dude, they don't come out clean. They come out popping their collars. Are you kidding me, bro? Like my boys are dressed to impress, right? So when I paint other stuff, I've painted Blood Angels, I've painted Death Guard, I've done some Salamanders and some Word Bearers, for charity armies. I've done lots of different paint work, and every time I go to a new army, it helps me break it all up. So now when I go back to my Ultramarines, I'm like, hell yeah, I get to paint my guys again. And I've got like a renewed vigor to get back to my guys. So I can't express, how much that helps me and helps a lot of other guys is, break up the content of what you paint. I'm not saying you have to go out and start a second army or third army. Like, don't call me and be like, I sold my house because you said I needed 9 armies. That's not what I'm saying. Say no to drugs. The other thing is, you can't find the motivation to paint without finding why you want to paint. For me, the more I play, the more I want to paint. I know one of our real good friends, Mike, he paints because he likes to paint. He doesn't paint to play. He paints because he likes to paint models. I paint to play. So when I go out and I play a game and I get home and I'm like, yeah, it was a great game, I want to paint something. I'm like, man, that Centurion let me down. I'm going to paint a new one.
Yeah.
I remember I did that one time and I showed up to another game with another Centurion guy. I was like, how many Centurions do you have? And I'm like, this is the third one. I'm going to see who lets me down. So find what makes you want to paint. Lean into it. Unless it's drugs. Again, say no to drugs. But that motivation, you're always going to find your own motivation. I'm simply telling you from my experience of what I've seen from other players, what I've seen in different communities. I've seen guys that one day got frustrated and were like, I'm going to take a day off and then never painted again. Because they just got so frustrated. And by the time they came back, they didn't have the love for it anymore. It happens. Right? I've also seen guys that paint models like they caught it with their wife. Like, I'm so tired of the stupid tank, the stupid thing, dude. And they're brushing to beat the band. I'm like, are you good? I'm just tired of looking at this tank. I just need to get these treads done. Breathe.
I felt that way about my rapier battery crew. The two that I was painted myself instead of having you base coat them. They're my redheaded stepchild. They're so ugly. I hate them. They don't match the rest of my army, and it's my fault. I shouldn't have had the rest of my army painted, base coated in an airbrush paint that I can't use them with a regular paintbrush. But from now on, you're base coating everything. You did that.
And my last hint and my last tip, my last hint toward greatness here is, earlier I was talking about don't buy into the hype, right? Don't buy into when you see a guy online who's like, if you don't have this, you're not a real painter, you're not a real player. I need you to take that and put it in the voice of the ShamWow guy, and you'll understand what's really going on. The number of things I found on the internet that I was like, that definitely 100% helped me be a better painter, were the most ridiculously stupid things. Kyle, do you know what the most used tool on my entire desk is?
What?
It's called the Lab Genius. It's a vortex mixer.
Oh yeah, I do love my mixer.
That's the most used tool on my desk. Is it necessary? No, but I tell you what, it beats taping my paints to a reciprocating saw or shaking them like I'm playing a maraca. Did that make me a better painter? No. What it did do is remove one of the steps of stress in my process of painting.
Yeah.
There are certain things I tell people, hey, this is not a mandatory thing, but it will help your quality of life. Wet palettes. And I would love to do an episode where I talk about the actual things that will make your life better. That would be a great topic. What actually will make your hobby life better versus what is just an expense to say you're cool. Gabe has a ton of stuff in his office that were just expenses to be cool. Right, like you've seen it too. You come over and be like, "Oh, I need a little hole right here." I'm like, "Oh, I got this," and I break out my little electro wallet. It's got my little, my button activated handheld drill bit with my little magnetized drill bits on the inside, and all that to drill like one bolter hole. And you're like, "Yeah," and you're like, "Could have also done it with a $3 pit device." Just saying.
Yeah.
Right. guys, gals, kids, elderly,
Things of all ages.
do what keeps you sane. Do what keeps you happy. Do what keeps you comfortable in your hobby. Because I cannot express enough how that part of sanity is going to keep you from feeling dejected or demoralized. And even moreover than that, who wants to go spend $200-300 on models, come home, and you're staring at them like Chris Farley and Billy Madison driving that bus? Like, who wants to be that mad at the world over something you spent that much money on? You know, like, who wants to be in that situation, right? So to recap, don't buy into unnecessary hype. You know, if you want something that's cool, go get it. It's your money. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm just going to tell you, I have 7 weathering pigments that have done nothing but occupy space on my shelf. I have the entire Pro Acryl line I've painted with roughly 40% of those paints. Not to say I won't paint with them, but I haven't found a use for them yet. Right now, that was Gabe being cool. One day, I'll show you guys a picture of my office when it doesn't look like it does right now.
It doesn't look like a tornado went through it.
Yeah, because like right now, I've been hopping from like project to project to project, and I'm that guy who's like, this is done. I'll just move it to another flat surface in my office.
Yeah, my office looks the same way.
Yeah, that's one of those things, like cluttering up, man. Like you start getting real like, ugh, I'm tired of looking at this. So don't buy into the unnecessary stuff. Keep grinding, keep pushing. Repetition creates a skill set. That's another one of those things that like I said earlier, complicated kits are only complicated the first time. After that, like, you start really finding your bearings. You start doing stuff. That's called developing a skill set, guys. You know, I have lots of people that call me really often, and they're like, "Hey, Gabe, how do I fix XYZ?" That
I'm never
isn't
gonna be able.
something.
I'm never
Do
gonna
what?
be able to paint. I'm never gonna be able to paint right. Don't even try.
That's just because you don't have the space and stuff to do it at the level you need to. You know, you've got a 4-year-old menace running around. I don't have that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And that's one of those things, like, you can't have an airbrush station. You're going to walk
Yeah.
home and you're going to find Mia like drawing her name on the wall, right? So
Yeah, I don't have an airbrush because that's not the tool for me.
yeah, but repetition creates skills. The more you do something, the better you get at it. The more experience you give yourself, the more problem solving you're going to develop, the more knowledge you're going to build up. People call me like, "Hey, have you ever come across this before?" "Yeah, do this." They're like, "Awesome. You told me, hey, I'm ordering this resin tank." And I'm like, "Sweet. You also need to order this heat gun."
Yeah.
100%. So there's certain tools, certain skills, and things that you just develop over time, just through exposure and experience, right? The next thing, like I said, is break up the content. If you're tired of painting your army, paint some terrain. There's nothing wrong with also going and maybe, finding one of these little fun little side games to play every now and again. I know that I had an absolute riot painting Halo Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Loved it. Find ways to break up your content, so you're
Yeah,
not just
that game
constant.
really scratched an itch for you.
It really did, yeah. And the thing was, like, after playing that, I was kind of reinvigorated to come back and play some more Warhammer because it didn't feel so, like, eh.
You needed something more complicated than Halo. And when Halo came around, you needed something more simple.
So moving forward from that, that intimidation, don't be intimidated by your models. Someone has worked through it. Someone has done the legwork on it before. Mixing into that, suffering groups. Find a community. I'll give Kyle the links. I will put links in the description of this video. That'll lead you to where we do our hobby hangout, where the guys at ABB do their hobby hangout. You can post in the Discord if you want to have a day, you want a hobby that isn't one of the designated hobby days, or if you ever just have hobby questions, put them in the Discord. Reply to one of the videos. Send me a direct message. I don't care. Now, don't expect an answer immediately all the time, because I do have a life and things that I do, but I'm going to help you, or I will put you in contact with someone who will help you, or those people will put you in contact with somebody who knows what you're dealing with. I promise there is someone who knows what woe you are struggling with when it comes to your hobby. Find what motivates you, and don't get bullied by your pile of shame. It's not a pile of shame. It's just a repository to pull models from. My very last thing, and this is probably the most important part of this entire rant that I've had today. Be as encouraged by your progress as you are by your failures. One day, I will show you guys some of my early models that I painted when I was a kid, and some of my work now. That doesn't happen unless I celebrate my own progress. Kyle, you've had models. The first time you started putting models together, you were like, all right, where is number 7? I remember it like it was yesterday. You were like, number 7. Gabe, why isn't 7 next to 6?
Yeah.
That's day one stuff. That really is what happens the first time you crack open a sprue. Celebrate your progress.
I
You're
will
getting
say
better.
my 1 or 2 Marines that I painted for the 13 seconds I played Warhammer 40K don't look near as good as the ones that I painted for Heresy.
Yeah, and that's the natural thing, right? Is the more you do this, the better you're gonna get. Celebrate your progress. That's one of those things. Kyle, you can attest to this. I've seen people walk up and hand me a model that, man, I could have sworn you glued googly eyes to it. It looked rough. But I will tell you, hey, man, did you paint this? Yeah. Good times.
Rock on, yeah. No one's going to make fun of you for having a painted army.
I don't know anyone who's ever done it.
Yeah. And if they
Now,
do, kick them in the shins.
yeah, but pull on, you have permission. Especially if you're like in a big thing like Adepticon where somebody's like, why'd you kick him in the shins? Like, oh, he said my model was terrible. Oh, yeah, the hell with that guy.
Yeah.
Everyone will side with you on that. So celebrate your progress, even if it's small things like, hey, man, I learned how to do, slap chop, or, what formerly known as zenithal highlighting, right?
let's not open that can of worms.
Yeah, let's not
Gabe.
open that can of worms. Yeah, no joke. I was like, ah. So
Bad example.
cool. You learned a new thing. Our buddy Forrest was like, I sat down here at this table and decided I was going to do non-metal metallic. And I was like, you're an amazing human being. Good luck.
I've got an idea. Just use metallic paints.
Yeah, I remember he was like, Gabe, how would you do this? And I was like, I'd use lead belcher. Like, so celebrate all of your progress. That's my final thought on this is everything you do is moving toward being better tomorrow, and then being better the next day after that, and being better the next day after that. So celebrate whatever progress you do have. You learned a new technique on Monday. Tuesday, you tried that technique. Cool. You tried it. That's the first step toward that repetition and that skill set and that expertise. Celebrate your progress. Right? That's the end of my rant. So, Kyle, you tell me, what are your thoughts? Do you have any questions? Do you have any thoughts? Do you have any more, expansion on this?
No, but I will say that there you are right in saying that there are a lot of people in every community on Warhammer and Warhammer, whether it's be Heresy or 40K, that are supportive. Everybody's been there, you know. I mean, we're not psychologists. We're not going to help you with, your problems with your parents, but we are here to help you with hobbying to the best of our abilities.
I agree. You know, I also know that a lot of the time, that last little like nudge that we need is just somebody being like, "Yep, I remember that. Yep, I've worked on one of those." We suffer in groups. I mentioned the other day that I was assembling a Charybdis, and 3 different people gave me audible ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
After the ughs were over, you know what the first thing I heard after that?
Huh.
Like, honest to God, the first comment I heard was, "Hey, when you're doing the legs, watch out for this."
That's true. Yeah. I remember that.
It went from, "Oh, that model's terrible," to, "Hey, just so you know, I had a problem with this. Did you figure a way around that?" That's how it should be. It should be I remember that. I'd rather shut my head in a car door than ever do that again. But I'm here to help you if you need it, because I will shut my head in a car door before I do that again.
Yeah. but you don't have to.
So I started thinking about that because you weren't the only person that was struggling with that this past week or two. It actually came up a number of times, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk about this. This is like the PTSD of our game here. Is like, we get so bogged down sometimes with the hobby aspect. And don't get me wrong, guys, I know there's plenty of you out there that are just like, man, I tell you what, it really hurts when I pay guys to paint my stuff, because you just don't do the hobby aspect at all. Like, I get that, right? But like, you're also not exempt from that, because people I've done commissions for, I will call them and ask them, hey, how do you want this painted? And you start telling me stories. Oh man, I want this model painted to look like this and like this, so that it reminds me of this character from this other thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're excited about it too. I'm glad that I can allow you to live vicariously through my paint. Love that. Find what motivates you guys. Celebrate your progress. Celebrate what you're doing right. Hell, celebrate what you're doing wrong.
Yeah,
You're painting.
what did I say I was gonna do with the oh, I said on one of these predators that I messed up, I put the doors on backwards. Oh, the sponson side's on backwards to where it looks like it's pointing the wrong direction. It's not getting fixed. It's not. Nope. That thing's super glued in and I'm not fixing it. Oh man, my super glue's open. It's gonna be dry. I'm gonna have to buy more super glue. I just looked at my table. It's been that way for 4 days.
Good job.
Oh
Again,
man.
we all suffer together.
Oh gosh, come on.
You know what I'm dealing with right now?
Uh,
I have a blood blister on my thumb.
oh,
Do you know why I have a blood blister on my thumb?
did you drill into your thumb?
No,
Touch something hot?
no. I was rummaging through my Rogue Trader stuff, I dropped a dreadnought on it.
Oh.
And there's like,
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I remember now. I'm gonna put a dodge symbol on one of these predators because it's got panel gaps like a charger. That's right. It's my Jeep Dodge Chrysler
oh,
Predator.
that's so good. I love that. That's so
I'm gonna put a
good.
Hellcat symbol on it.
Oh man,
That's
that's
what I'm
so
gonna do.
good.
The dude, I used some of that modeling putty you gave me to fill in a gap, and now it looks like turd. I'm gonna
Did you
have to
sand
sand
it?
it down. So I'm gonna have to sand it down. So but I've done no post processing. I put it together and I put it aside and said, next one.
Yeah. So what you do with that putty,
Yeah.
so you know, again, this is the kind of stuff we do, guys. You put you put it in, and then you sand it all flush. It's literally like doing body work on a car, or
Yeah.
like every Dodge you've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do it that way.
Well, that's the end of my ramble for today. I needed to get that out because, like, man, I've seen a lot of people struggling with it, and I wanted to talk about it. As always, guys, we're gonna put links in the video. At least I hope Kyle's gonna put links in the video. I'll get those links together for you, Kyle.
Yeah, I got you. They're
But
on
guys,
all of our
thanks.
videos for everybody that listens to them religiously.
Yeah, but I don't think you have a link to the ABB one.
Oh, you're right. I don't.
You know, because don't get me wrong, like we have our hobby hangouts, and I love our crew, but the ABB guys have a pretty good following. So there's a pretty good chunk of guys that are in there majority of the time. You know, shout out to those guys. So we'll get you some links to that stuff, guys. As always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, you know, throw a reply on the video, hop in the Discord, ask questions, do whatever you need to do. Just keep pushing forward. Keep the progress going.
If you don't agree with Gabe and you want to kick him in the shins, we'll be at Warzone September 25th in Houston. You should come check us out.
I will be at Warzone, and now that you said that, I may wear soccer guards. God, I can imagine. I really can't imagine Seth being like, "Hey, you see that guy over there? Yeah, that guy's name is Gabe. Go kick him in the shins." And paying some kid $5 and a hot dog to come
Yeah.
murder my shins. I 100% can see that happening.
Yeah, he would.
But as always, guys, thanks for being with us. Happy dice, happy life. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Adios.